Hey Ian, this is your dad helping you with your pre-calculus. All right, in problem 45, it said you want 2i and negative I to be the zeros of a polynomial, okay? So if those are the zeros or the roots, then here's what that looks like in factored form. X minus 2, because that would have the solution of 2, x minus I, and x plus I. So to make this into a polynomial, we have to multiply this together. We got to FOIL it. So I'm going to FOIL this side first, get rid of those i's. So this would be x squared plus ix minus ix, and then minus I squared. Now remember, I squared equals negative 1. Okay? So this is going to turn into x squared plus 1. These two in the middle cancel out. And minus I squared would be minus negative 1, which would be plus 1. So that's those two factored pieces on the right. Now I still have the x minus 2, so to finish this one, I have to FOIL this. So we had to first do the distributive property, now we got to FOIL here. So basically we're just multiplying the factored form back together to make the polynomial. So x times x squared is x cubed, x times 1 is 1x, negative 2 times x squared is negative 2x squared, and negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. So I'm going to rearrange this, put it in descending order. X cubed minus 2x squared plus 1x minus 2. You don't need that 1, but I checked this in the back of the book, and it's the right answer. So that's the answer, number 45 answer. Make sure you show your work. So show all this work here. All right, second problem. A little bit more complicated, 47. So it gives you some zeros again. It gives you 2, 2, and 4 minus I. Now if 4 minus I is a solution, 4 plus I is also a solution. All right, this one's more complicated. It's going to take up the whole page here. But that's the zeros, number 47 here. So these are the factored forms. X minus 2, another x minus 2, that's called the double root. And then this is where it gets weird. X minus 4 minus I, that's x minus 4 minus I. And x, oops, need a double parenthesis there, x minus 4 plus I. All right, so what I'm going to do on this one is I'm going to multiply these first two together. That's going to be x squared minus 2x plus 4. So it's going to be x squared minus 4x plus 4. So boom, there we go. We got a polynomial, but that's only a polynomial that has a couple of 2's for its zeros. The big work here comes on this right side. All right. So we're going to FOIL that, and it's kind of a mess, but here's how it goes. We have to take the x times the x. Okay. That's going to be, I'll put that in parentheses there. It's going to be x squared. And then we have to take the x times this whole group over here. And then we got to consider that negative in front of it. So it's going to be negative 4x and negative ix, because that negative sneaks in there. All right, then we got to move over to this 4 minus I times this other x. Now we got to multiply that together. So it's going to be another negative 4x, and it's going to be but this time it's going to be a plus ix. And then we have to take 4 minus I times 4 minus I. This is the messiest part. 4 minus I times 4 minus I is going to be 16 minus I squared. So I'm kind of thinking this thought off to the side here. 4 minus I times 4 plus I. And that's going to be 16 minus I squared. All right, so this is the right side. It's a big old mess, because you got to multiply a lot of stuff together. All right, so what do we got here? We got x squared, so that x squared lives. The minus 4x and the minus 4x become minus 8x. These two cancel out, minus ix and plus ix, so see you later. And then 16 minus I squared is 16 minus negative 1, because remember, I squared equals negative 1, so that'll become 17, positive 17. All right, so yeah, the big mess is this. This is a big old mess to multiply out, but it multiplies out to like 9 things, and then you combine like terms, and it gets down to just 3 things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, it's a mess. Anyway. All right. Now we got to multiply this together. Keep doing the distributive property. So we have to take x squared times x squared. That's x to the fourth. Then we have to take x squared times negative 8x. That's going to be negative 8x cubed. Then we have to take x squared times 17. So it's going to be plus 17x squared. Now we're going to move over to the negative 4x times x squared. That's going to be negative 4x cubed. And then negative 4x times negative 8x. That's going to be positive 32x. And then negative 4x times 17, that's going to be negative 68x. All right, now we finally move over to the 4. 4 times x. Oops, sorry, this should be x squared right there. 4 times x squared is 4x squared. 4 times negative 8x is negative 32x. 4 times 17 is 68. All right, now we're going to combine like terms to get our final polynomial. And we're going to get x to the fourth minus 12x cubed plus 53x squared minus 100x plus 68. Whew, that's a beast. And it's a beast because you got to multiply all those factored terms together. It gets really messy over there on the right side. If you want me to do another one where you got to multiply crap like that, I can certainly help you out. All right. Then problem 51, kind of the same problem as the other ones. They give you the zeros, except it's got this goofy part where it says f of negative 1 equals 10. That's something we'll have to consider after we write out the factored form. So the zeros they give you are 1, negative 2, and 2i. Oops, don't know why I put a parenthesis there. 1, negative 2, and 2i. Now, if 2i is a factor, so is negative 2i. All right? So it does have 4, because they want it fourth degree. And if it's fourth degree, that means we've got to have 4 zeros, okay? So write them in factored form now. X minus 1, x plus 2, x minus 2i, and x plus 2i. That's the factored form. Now, we're supposed to make sure this is true. We have to check this, all right? Because we might need a piece out front. Your textbook calls it A out in front. But we got to see, well, let's put negative 1 in for x. So negative 1 minus 1 is negative 2. Negative 1 plus 2 is positive 1. Negative 1 minus 2i. And negative 1 plus 2i. So I'm putting, and this is messy again because of these complex ones here, but let's FOIL that together. That'd be 1 minus 4i squared. So since I is negative 1, this is going to turn into 1 plus 4. So that's going to turn into 5. So you have negative 2 times 1 times 5. Now that multiplies to negative 10, but it's supposed to equal positive 10. So that means we need A, that number out in front needs to be negative 1. So the final factored form would be negative 1 times x minus 1 times x plus 2 times x minus 2i times x plus 2i. So that is the final answer. So this thing right here, this f of negative 1 equals 10, just made us have to include this negative 1 out in front right here, okay? So kind of sucks that you have to do that, but anyway. So part B then says do the same thing you did in the previous two problems and multiply all this stuff together. So I'm going to multiply these first two things together, and then I'm going to multiply the last two things together, and then I'm going to multiply it all together. So these first two things, and we got to keep that negative 1 handy. We'll come back and get it. But it's going to be x squared plus 2x minus 1x, so it's going to be plus 1x minus 2. So I like to do the outer and the inner and just add them up. 2 and my negative 1 add up to 1. So that's those first two things. These other two things, it's kind of cool that they're conjugates because x times x, that's going to be x squared. But then x times positive 2i would be plus 2ix, and then the inner would be negative 2ix. So they're going to cancel, and then it's going to be minus 4i squared. All right, and I squared, remember, is -1, so this is just going to turn into x squared plus 4. We still have this. And then now we got to multiply all this trinomial times this binomial. So x squared times x squared is x to the 4th. X squared times 4 is 4x squared. X times x squared is x to the 3rd. X times 4 is plus 4x. Negative 2 times x squared is negative 2x squared. Negative 2 times 4 is negative 8. Now we're going to simplify all this. It's going to have x to the 4th. Find the x cubed plus x cubed. The x squared is 4 minus 2 plus 2x squared. So I'm just searching through here. The plus 4x and then minus 8. All of that times -1. So that's the polynomial in multiplied together form. I think I've got it right. Yeah, I checked it in the back. That's what the answer looks like in the back. Okay, except instead of having a 1 there, they just have negative, and then x to the 4th plus x cubed plus 2x squared plus 4x minus 8. All right, so that's how it is in the back of the book. All right,